Okay, a quick overview for John Hilton's Talking About Talking. This is a radio address that he delivered. It is his last radio address, and he mentions that in the beginning, saying, "No, this is it. Goodbye." I was thinking about what I should do my last radio address about, and I decided I will talk about talking. He comments a lot on his style, specifically how he really loves it when people comment that when he comes onto the radio, he just talks. So if there's nothing written or recorded, he doesn't sound like he's reading a news report. He sounds like he's having a conversation. So Hilton decides he's going to address that concept. And he starts out by saying that there are no tricks of the trade. Now, this is a really interesting and ironic thing for him to say, because he goes on to list tricks of the trade. So it's important to note that sort of irony there, where he's saying, well, I don't really have to tell you tricks of the trade. There aren't any. It's kind of like he's saying there are no tricks of the trade, but if there were, this is what they would be. And he goes on and kind of rambles a little bit about what these tricks, quote unquote, he uses. One of the things he spends a lot of time talking about is talking while you write and making sure that your writing sounds like you're speaking. Especially when it comes to giving speeches, and in his case, radio addresses. He says it's so important to make sure that you write and eventually deliver the way you would speak in a conversation. He gives examples. He talks about prepositions and how there's the grammar rule that you can't end a sentence with a preposition. But he says that's phooey. He talks about using contractions, saying it's instead of it is important. You would say it's important. So these kind of talk naturally is definitely his top trick. He says frequently, find a style that fits you. Just because this works for me, John Hilton, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So he goes on and on about finding that style that works for you. If it's talking, or if it's delivering a speech like you talk, if it's writing, it's memorization, whatever, you find your style that works for you. And he says, everybody's different. This is what works for me. And he talks a lot about delivery technique also. He says that he bunches words and then pauses so you can catch up to him. So he would say something like this, and pause and give you a minute to catch up. Again, he ends his little speech, his radio address, I guess, by saying, find something that works for you. This is what works for me. Find something for you. So, final summary, he talks about style, no tricks of the trade, and then goes on to tell you the tricks of the trade. And that is John Hilton talking about talking.